Hello everyone, I am Shantanu Sharma, and in today's talk I will present our system that we call IoT X1. This is a joint work with Nisha Pawar, Piyush Gupta, Dhruv Jyoti Ghosh, Sarad Malhotra and Nalini Venkat Subramaniam. As the title of the system suggests, X1. So in this system that we call IoT X1, we develop a series of protocols that can delete the data at the cloud, and any user can verify the state of the data, is it deleted or not, according to the data retention policy. So before showing how IoT X1 works, let us see what is the need of developing such a system. So at UCI, we have developed a system that we call Tippers. So in Tippers, what we do, we collect data from several sensors. These sensors are deployed by the university IT department. Thus, there are different types of sensors, for example, wireless access point, and then camera or beacons. So we are able to get the data of Wi-Fi access point. So what happens when a device gets connected to the university Wi-Fi network? It produces a particular tuple. That tuple contains device ID, device MAC ID, the time at which it gets connected to the network, and the location, means which access point it is getting connected. And this data for every connection, for every device, we are able to get it, based on which we develop several applications. For example, here we list three applications: location tracing, COVID-19 exposure tracing, social distancing. These are only some applications, but we develop several other applications. So on the right hand side, you can see there are different types of entities. Since in this system we are dealing with user related data that can reveal the user privacy. So according to different entities, we have different security requirements. So first, see the cloud side. Whenever data is outsourced to the cloud by the university IT department, we consider that the cloud is trusted. It will do the computation exactly whatever we want, but the cloud also wants to show its adherence to the rules, that it is following all the rules of data retention and changing the state of the data, either it is deleting or some in other state. The user The user wants to verify two things. First, it wants to verify the presence and absence of his data in the given data records for 1 hour, 2 hour, and so on, it will be clear soon. And it wants to verify the state of the data. Is it in the accessible state or is it deleted? Auditor Auditor can do the same role as the user, but it can verify entire data regardless of the users. So considering these requirements, we develop a system that we call IoT X1, and here is the architecture of the IoT X1. So in the green part, you see the IT department part that shows IT department has deployed several Wi-Fi access points and they collect data from several access points. And whenever they collect the data, they use a timestamping server. The working of the timestamping server is that it append one unique timestamp to each record. It will be clear in the next slide how the timestamping server is working and what is the meaning of the time, as well as at the same time it will encrypt the data prior to outsourcing to the cloud. After encrypting the data, it sends the data to the cloud. So the cloud has three things: first, encrypted Wi-Fi data, the verifiable tags, and data retention rules. Encrypted sensor data is provided to the tippers. The verifiable tags will be used by the user or the auditor to verify the state of the data, and data retention rules are used by the cloud to change the state of the data. At the tipper side, we get encrypted data and we have one SGX machine that works as a trusted agent of the OIT of IT department, and users submitted their queries to the tippers and it executes query on the encrypted data via SGX and provide the answer. Whenever a query is submitted, SGX provides a secure log for all the incoming query. But here in this paper, we will not focus how we are developing these applications. Our focus is on the cloud side, that how we can verify the data according to data retention policy. So in IoT X1, there are several phases. So first phase is the control phase. Control phase is executed at the data provider side, means the IT department that provides us the data. What is the work of this phase? It will encrypt the data and outsource to the cloud. The second phase is the state transition phase. It is executed at the cloud side and it will change the state of the data and generate proof that it is following the given data retention rule. Verification phase can be executed at the user side or the auditor side, and they want to verify the state of the data. Now the security properties. Since we have three different states, the security requirement for each phase is also different. First one is control phase. For the control phase, the security requirement is that they can generate a tamper-proof sensor data, that if the data is deleted by the cloud, it should be verifiable by any entity. State transition phase, if cloud is following the rules of given by the data provider, then it needs to generate some proof, tamper-proof proof, that it shows that cloud is following the given rules by the data provider. And now data attestation phase. The attestation phase says that user can verify any stage of the data, as well as whenever a user is verifying the state of data, it cannot reveal the privacy of any other user. So this is the most important part. So means if user U1 wants to verify his data, it cannot the verification process cannot reveal the privacy of any other user. So now we will see all the phases one by one. So first phase is the control phase. This is executed at the IT department. So whenever we get the stream of the data, we need to do three tasks. First, we will select a chunk, then execute the timestamping, securely execute, and then link that chunk. So the task of the chunk selection, the first part is to minimize the overhead of the proof creation. And then the second part is time allocation. Then we allocate the time or cryptographically generate the tuples, verifiable tag. This is the second phase. And then since we created epochs, we want to ensure that all the epochs are linked, or all the data in all the chunks are linked. If one of the chunk in between first or third, that is the second chunk, is deleted, we can verify it because someone has deleted the second chunk, but it has to first delete the first one and then third one. So that we need to link the chunk. So now see how control phase will work. Suppose here we have 4 input sensor reading. So as I told you, first part is the epoch selection and time allocation. So suppose here first two rows belong to the first epoch and second two rows are selected for the second epoch. For each row we allocate an identical time. So here for first two rows we allocated time t1 and for second two row we allocated time t2. Now we execute the hash function. Hash function is executed on the device ID, the timestamp that we allocated, and a counter variable. Now third step, we encrypt the entire tuple with the time ID. And finally we append the cryptographic timestamp. So here you can see we merge all the hash functions of the step 2 with another hash function and use this part, the output of the hash function of all the hash function of the hash step 2, as the exponent of the another seed variable. And this variable, whatever is the output that we write as ct1, is going to the next part to create the cryptographic timestamp for the next epoch. So this is the part sensor data that we will outsource to the. In addition to this, we will also outsource the metadata, means the epoch ID and the range that it is covering. From which range, means the in real timestamp t1 to t2, the given time epoch ID is t1. For t3 to t4 we give t2, and the cryptographic timestamp. In addition, we also generate the verifiable tag. So how verifiable tags are generated? We take the encrypted tuples that we already encrypted and execute the hash function. On this hash function, we will get some value that we denote by AH1 and encrypt it right to the metadata table for that particular epoch. In addition, the data provider also simulated data deletion process and generated tag. So how data deletion process is simulated, we will see in the next slide, where the real cloud is deleting the data. The same process will be carried at the service provider side. And finally, we outsource. Now we will see how the cloud will delete the data. So we use the memory heart function. So memory heart functions are the series of operations that we need to implement on each record. And since this is a series of operations, we cannot initiate with from any middle step of the series. So here you can see there are 8 records. And for example, consider a memory heart function is H. We perform a particular style of the memory heart function and execute in several stages. So here we executed these memory heart function in 3 stages. So if someone wants to start the output at stage 1 or 2, then they cannot generate the output that is given in the iteration 3. After executing these memory heart functions, we generate a tag for this deletion process. So again, the tag is generated by executing the hash function on all the tuples of the final output. This will generate a tag. So now if user wants to verify the data, he needs to do the following thing. Suppose the user is D2 and he wants to verify data between T2 to T3, T3 to T4. He needs to do the two things. First, he needs to fetch the data from the cloud. He fetched it, and after that he wants to execute some computation. The computation will go in the following manner. Since the user knows his device ID and he knows the counter, how many data rows he is getting, and he knows the timestamp that he got from the cloud, so he will perform the hash function and generate some hash digest h1 h2, and it will compare against the hash digest he got from the cloud side. If they are matching, it means the data of the user is appearing at the cloud side that is in the requested time epoch. But now, presence or absence of his data, it will not make sure that the cloud is giving you the entire data of a particular chunk. So to verify this part, he needs to find the completeness of all the received tuple. So first, what he does, he will do either the left hand part or the right hand part. The left hand part is for the when the data is in the accessible state, mean it is not deleted. It will decrypt the tag AH2 and then it will execute the hash function on the received hash digest. If they are matching, it means the hash all the data in the encrypted state, in the accessible state, and they are complete. If data is deleted, then the second part will be true. Now finally we will see some evaluation how we are doing the work. So we consider 12-month Wi-Fi data. We created different epoch size, 15 minutes, 1 hour and 1 day. And data provider configuration machine was 4 core 16 GB machine. And here on the left hand side you see that encryption and tag generation time overhead at the data provided side. So as the time of the epoch increases, the data provider needs to encrypt more tuples and generate a tag on the more number of rows. So the computation time at the data provider increases. However, on the other side, we consider different types of users that wants to verify the data. They have capacity limited capacity. Someone is 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM, and the highest capacity is 2 CPU and 2 GB RAM. To verify this part, we executed the computation as we suggested in the previous part. Now you can see that to verify the data for 1 day data, it took only 2 seconds. So the approach that we generated for the verification, it is not extremely computationally expensive at the user side. So we can say that the approach works well at the data at the user side or the auditor side for verifying the desired amount of the data. Finally, this was our part. Thank you. And these slides are available on the following link. Now I am happy to take your question. Thank you.